once again to Real Shame, a show where me and he talk about our list of movie blind spots, aka list of shame, whatever the heck you want to call it. My name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And this week we're doing a couple of movies that I have never seen, sadly, but I have remedied that. And what is the movie that we are starting off the week with, Mr.
All right.
Adam?
Even though it's spelled wrong, we're going to watch The Pursuit of Happyness. This movie follows the life and hardships of a father as he tries to land a better job, a better life for him and his son, and finally, the pursuit of happiness.
And the why, we talked about this. It's an I in happiness. There's no Y in happiness, it's an I.
I'm Chris Gardner. I met my father for the first time when I was 28 years old. And I made up my mind as a young kid that when I had children, my children were going to know who their father was. This is part of my life story.
Pursuit of Happyness came out in 2006. It is written by Stephen Conrad and directed by Gabriel Muccino. Hopefully I said that close enough to his name.
I think you did.
I remember this being like one of Will Smith's first like dramatic roles. He would do movies after that are kind of dramatic, but I remember this one for me was the first time like I'm not seeing Will Smith like the action star, the kind of tongue in the cheek, kind of snarky guy.
Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth, Men in Black, all that kind of stuff, and seeing more of a grounded portrayal, right?
Yeah.
Conrad, who wrote this movie, Stephen Conrad, he would go on and write The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Have you seen that?
I have.
I like that movie. Do you like it?
I did. Yeah.
All right.
It's a remake, but I did.
It
like
is, yeah, with Ben Stiller. And he'd write The Wonder. And I remember when The Wonder came out, I have not seen it. But he did that.
I haven't seen that.
Gabriel Muccino would go on and directs Will Smith in 7 Pounds, which is a movie I haven't seen. I heard it was kind of.
I have seen it, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about it. It's been so long and don't remember nothing. So there not helpful at all. Why did I say that? I don't know. Because I gotta say it.
You gotta say it.
Yeah.
All right, The Pursuit of Happyness stars Will Smith as Chris Gardner, Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, as his son.
Introducing Jaden Christopher Sire Smith, according to the credits.
Yes, I did not write all that down. As a Christopher or Chris Jr., Thandie Newton as Linda, his wife, his estranged wife maybe. Brian Howe as Jay Thwissell, who didn't give Will Smith a warm hug. He probably should have, even though he said that in the voiceover. And if you pay attention to the end of the movie, you get to see a cameo of the real life Chris Gardner. Spoiler, the movies this week we're watching are Will Smith movies where he plays a real life character in a dramatic role. That's how we did it. Pursuit of Happyness was a movie I remember seeing. I don't know if I saw it in theaters, but I saw it pretty close to when it came out. Again, I kind of said why it seemed interesting, and I remember liking the movie. But it's a movie that you've never seen because that's how this show works.
And I hate Will Smith.
And you hate Will Smith. Call back.
I don't.
You don't. You like, and we've seen a couple Will Smith movies, right? We've seen Enemy of the State, which you liked. We saw Independence Day, which you didn't like.
Yeah.
We saw Hitch, which I think
I like for the most part. I feel like it's two different movies, but I like it for them.
Yeah.
Pretty okay. I like it okay.
We're whittling away, your list of shame with Will Smith movies.
That's
and
right.
Threw a couple on there this week. So, what'd you know about Pursuit of Happyness going into it? And what'd you think about watching Pursuit of Happyness for the first time?
Yeah, so I remember when this movie came out. It came out in 2006. I think you mentioned that. It came out in December of 2006, so it's definitely like
award season.
Oscar season, yeah. So they dumped it out. And I remember seeing the preview for it. And so you said Will Smith, this is kind of a dramatic role for him. He's been playing the Men in Black characters and Wild Wild West and Bad Boys and all that stuff.
Independence Day.
I was thinking about that as well whenever I watched this film. And so
I don't remember when he did Muhammad Ali. I think it was after this.
No, it was before this.
Okay.
So he'd done Ali with Michael Mann before this. But back in the 90s, like pretty soon after he was doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he did 6 Degrees of Separation, which is a more dramatic role for him. Now, I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
But I've never seen it, and I think that's the problem. Most people have never seen it. Yeah. So I think he tried to kind of get into dramatic acting even back then because he did 6 Degrees of Separation, which is based, I believe, on a play. He did Where the Day Takes You as well, about like street homeless kind of people, which is more of a dramatic role. Nobody saw those movies really. I mean, I think plenty of people have seen 6 Degrees of Separation now. I still don't know about Where the Day Takes You. So I think, he had the chance to do like Bad Boys and Independence Day and Men in Black and stuff like that, and took it and made big bucks to do it. And those movies, I mean, I don't like Independence Day, but I know plenty of people do. But those movies are crowd pleasers. And I think Will Smith was just born to be a movie star. He's just born to be a star, period, right?
So charismatic.
He's super charismatic, good looking guy. And in this movie, I feel like he's really good at acting. He's a very good actor. And that's not something that you necessarily would have seen from him back when he was doing Fresh Prince. Not that he was bad in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but he hadn't shown, maybe this much range. And I think he's really good in this film.
I think I might be misremembering this, but I think he did say like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was kind of like acting school for him. And he kind of learned all the ropes and learned a whole lot in there.
Yeah.
And I do think there is some stuff to be said a little bit about, I don't know how true this is, but I remember them people talking about how Will Smith chooses movie roles where he chooses like one sci-fi action thing and then one dramatic, and he kind of switches them off their kind of stuff. I don't, like I said, I don't know how true that is, but I always think of that whenever I kind of look at his filmography and stuff like that.
So when this movie came out, I had not seen, obviously, some of the movies that we've since watched on the show, like Enemy of the State, and I still haven't seen Wild Wild West, and I had not seen Independence Day. I had seen... What's that?
So you're not missing much with Wild Wild West.
I had not seen... I had seen Legend of Bagger Vance came before this movie, so that's a little bit more of a dramatic role, something like that. But yeah, so... I remember seeing the previews for this, and I knew it was like him and like his real life kid and everything. And I remember even from the trailer, them being like locking themselves in the bathroom and him, kind of trying to sleep and stuff like that. But I guess I'm just a jerk because back then when I saw the preview, this movie just completely turned me off. I was like, this just looks like an Oscar bait kind of film that they're dropping in December. And that turned me off completely. Yeah. And I guess that says something about me. I'm just an asshole or something. Yeah, I'm a jerk person. But yeah, cold-hearted. I think, that's you hit the nail on the head. But I think watching the preview, I just was like, it just looks schmaltzy to me. I was like, this movie just does not look like my cup of tea. So I've never seen it. And I think I did myself a disservice because I did like this movie. I think this is a good movie. I think Will Smith plays a great character. I mean, and obviously based on a real life person, but I think he does a great acting job in this film. I think Jaden is adorable. He's adorable in this. He's adorable in the Karate Kid remake, I feel like too. I don't know about now that he's grown up. Not an adorable little kid anymore. But in this movie, he's adorable as Chris Gardner's son in this film. But yeah, I really don't have a lot bad to say about this film. I thought that it's very watchable. It moves really well. I think you get a good understanding of what, and obviously I'm sure they took liberties as they always do with real life. But
that's one of the biggest trivias on IMDb is that there's a bunch of changes throughout the book. Like the internship was actually paid. It wasn't paid a whole lot, but it was paid a little bit. And the criteria to move, and basically the internship was open to pretty much anyone who wanted it. There's some details like Jaden Smith, Chris Gardner's Junior's age and stuff like that, but like any movie that's based on real life, they change things, they manipulate things, they combine things to make it interesting for the screen, because if it was just real life, you'd be bored.
You'd probably be bored, right? Yeah, but as it stands, I found this movie to be very watchable, very interesting. I think everybody does a good job. Tandy Newton kind of drops out of the movie because she leaves to... basically leaves him to go
like her accent.
to New York. Yeah, maybe. But I didn't think her accent was that bad. But I don't know. But anyway, I think everybody does a good job. It's nice to see Dan Castellaneta in a live action role and not playing Homer Simpson. Although, as the trivia points out, he does ask for a donut in the movie. Nod to Homer Simpson.
Nod to Homer. You should be ashamed of yourself for writing that.
It's really the trivia for just about all movies on IMDb is really stupid.
I think popular movies, it's the worst.
But I thought this movie was good. I would say the only kind of thing that and this is not really, again, this is more me kind of wishing for something that's not in the movie as opposed to critiquing what's on screen. And I know some people hate that, but I do wish that they would have dealt a little bit more with the intricacies of his internship and like what he had to go through with that.
Yeah.
I think they do a decent job enough, and he talks about, I didn't hang the phone up because it saved time, and I had to do in this amount of time what these other guys could do because I had to go pick up my son from daycare and stuff like that. They do a good job, I think, of establishing obviously what he had to go through, but I wanted to know a little bit more. Maybe that's just me. I wanted to know a little bit more about that world.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I thought the movie was really, really good. I was really, really impressed with it. I found it, again, very easy to watch, and he seems like I don't know how he is in real life, but seems like a great guy who did everything he could for him and his son and to keep things afloat. And now he's like a millionaire or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
and
the
postscript said he
lots of money, so good for him.
He sold his shares and did awesome.
But I like movies like this because I like characters like this.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just a good man, right?
Yeah.
And he has a child that he wants to raise the right way, and he wants to, have a roof over their head and have a good job. And he sells these bone density scanners, which I did find it funny that he's constantly seeing people that have like stolen his bone scanners or bone density scanners around the city. But no,
is that a time machine? That's a time machine.
It's a time machine. I want to go back to the 60s. But no, I thought this movie was, again, really, I sound like I'm going on and on, but I thought it was really well acted, very watchable. I like this character, and I'm sorry that I didn't watch it. And I'm sorry that I made fun of it from seeing the trailer back in 2006, but it was good.
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We fix those issues.
I did.
I think I've cooled a little bit on this movie. I kind of knew what I was getting when I watched it, so it wasn't that surprising. But I do want to kind of circle back on what you said, and it is nice to see someone who is good and smart and capable to kind of succeed and stuff like that. And maybe, life handed him a bad deck of cards or bad set of cards, bad hand, whatever that euphemism is. And, it wasn't because of him that he's kind of in a rut or in the situation he is, but he's making the best of it. And he's trying to push himself a little bit further, right? So I wanted to circle back and say, yeah, I really like that. I like that message and stuff like that. And, he always has these kind of like interactions with his son where he's making sure his son's like, thinking about the world a certain way or teaching him lessons from different things that kind of happen or, kind of help help I can't even think of the word. Just just highlighting and reinforcing those words looking for some of the lessons and some of the things he's learning so you grow up to be, as intelligent as his father. Yeah. So I really liked all that kind of stuff too. So I knew what I was getting into and just so I kind of the movie's pace just felt a little bit slow, but that's nothing on the movie. It's just that I just was waiting.
You're familiar with it.
Yeah. Just waiting for the beats that I know are going to happen, right? So,
sure.
Some of the trivia I pulled from here that wasn't terrible is that there's some speed cubing champions that taught Will Smith how to solve a Rubik's Cube in under 2 minutes. So that's not CGI, guys. That's actually a Will Smith using his brain, Big Willie style for that.
I can't solve a Rubik's Cube.
I looked up the formulas and I can do it with the help of the formulas. I don't have the formula memorized, but it's something I've solved with help of outside sources. So I don't know what that says.
Well, not to say I can do it, but I will clarify that by saying I have not tried to solve one in like 30 years. But back then I could not solve one, so I probably could not solve one now. At least not without maybe looking at how to what the strategies of how to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I said, this is based on true story. Elements have been changed from the book. That happens. And Will Smith wanted Gabriel Machino to direct this movie after seeing two of his films, The Last Kiss and Remember Me, My Love. Have you seen any of those movies?
Nope,
never
heard of them.
Me either. So I don't know. I'd be curious to check this out because I think this is a competent and well done movie.
It is.
So
and Will Smith was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
There you go. Yeah, you have
lost.
That. You lost. Do you remember who?
I meant to look and see who he lost to. I did not. Yeah, sorry.
And that's what I was going to ask.
Sorry.
All right. So why don't you tell us where we can watch this movie? We wanted to, and what the critics think.
Apparently, this movie is streaming on Stars. I don't have Stars, so I can't verify that. But it is streaming on the Stars network, at least right now as we're filming. It is 67% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with an 87. Is that right? Yeah, 87% audience score. And I weirdly enough, I did not see a Roger Ebert review on this. This is before he passed away, several years before he passed away, but I didn't find one on RogerEbert.com. I don't know what happened there because I saw some other some other movies that I think that Will Smith had done after this that he reviewed. So it's not like he had a Will Smith boycott,
Okay.
but maybe I'm just bad at interneting, but I didn't find it. Anyway, Leonard Maltin gave it 3 out of 4 stars.
All right. Well, that was our thoughts on Pursuit of Happyness on these Monday episodes. We always like to follow up now. Now 200 episodes in. The Monday reviews with the movies that we've been watching. So, Andy, have you been watching anything good lately?
I have. I watched some movies that come from down under.
All
Well,
right.
specifically, one comes from Australia and one comes from New Zealand. I watched The Dry, which is the Australian movie, and that has Eric Bana.
Oh.
We all know Eric Bana,
Yep.
who is Australian. And it takes place in Australia. It's
He's
not only
Nero.
made by Australian Film Corporation or some Australian film company. It takes place in Australia, and I thought it was a good movie. He plays a policeman who comes back to his hometown to attend a funeral, and it was basically like a murder-suicide, or so they think, but he investigates and finds out there's probably something a little bit deeper than that.
Oh.
It wasn't a murder-suicide. I think there's maybe a few too many red herrings in the movie that to distract you that don't end up really going anywhere. I think
Yeah.
they just kind of do it to throw you off. But I still think the movie overall is pretty damn good.
A little
I-
Knives Dry, maybe.
yeah, I thought it was well done, and it was an interesting movie. It was on Showtime, streaming on Showtime.
All
So
right.
if you have Showtime, you can check it out. The other movie from New Zealand is on Netflix, and this is one that I saw in the horror subreddit. Although it's not a horror movie, it's very bleak and kind of nihilistic, and it's got some shocking violence in it. It's called Coming Home in the Dark. I thought it was good overall, but it's one of those movies. It's weird to describe it as good because it's very bleak,
Yeah.
and it does have some violence that is shocking, and you're like, oh crap. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's basically about a family that goes out kind of on a picnic. They encounter some seedy individuals, and those seedy individuals terrorize them for the film. So it's harrowing, but I thought it was watchable. But I did read a lot of reviews where people were like, "This movie's boring as hell." But I guess you could probably see those kinds of reviews in any kind of movie, right?
Yeah,
People
for sure.
there's always gonna be some people that are bored with it. And then the final movie that I wanted to mention was a movie that is on streaming on HBO Max. It is the Tom Hanks movie News of the World,
I've heard this
which
is good.
is a Paul Greengrass movie. Yeah, I liked it. It's a good movie. It's a fairly simple story. Tom Hanks basically finds a girl who she was kidnapped from her original parents who spoke German. They lived basically, because it takes place in Texas in the 1800s. They lived in like the central Texas, like the hill country. She was taken from them by a tribe of Native Americans, but she's now separated from them. He finds her and he wants to return her back to where she came from in basically kind of central Texas hill country, something like that.
Interesting.
But I thought it was good. It's definitely watchable. Again, I don't know that it has a lot of like twists and turns that or anything like that, but I still found the movie to be entertaining. Tom Hanks is always good, and he's good at this.
Yeah.
The little girl is good, and I thought it was good overall. It's good movie, good watch.
Awesome.
What about you?
So I watched a movie that came up on one of my favorite film reviewers' top 10 lists, and it was a movie that I remember seeing the trailers for, and it looked pretty interesting. It's a movie based off of a video game, and I think that video game is also based off a card game, and it's called Werewolves Within. I think Kirby kind of reluctantly sat down and watched it with me a little bit. She liked it better than I did. I did not like this movie very much at all.
I've heard really good things about it, but I wanted to see it.
I just didn't find it funny at all or anything. Like I don't know. It didn't capture me. So I don't know if that's. I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie or anything like that. It's well directed and stuff like that, but it just didn't. The quirkiness of the characters that I think are supposed to be funny aren't funny to me. It's just kind of like, oh, they're going for that kind of character. Oh, they're going for that kind of character for me. And I don't want to say that they're all like kind of rote, but it's just all maybe they're one note to me is more what it is. And I don't know if that's a 1-to-1 to the video game. Like if like this character was also in the game and they're like this, and that's what they're trying to do. I don't know. It just wasn't, it wasn't any werewolves on cycles or anything like that. That I would see. And I like werewolf movies, but yeah, it unfortunately didn't do a whole lot to me. So
you turned off Werewolves Within, watched Teen Wolf.
I should have, yeah. I would have liked it more. So that's what I watched. I need to go through and I start kind of catching up on some of those best of movies, and I thought this would be an easy one to do, and unfortunately it didn't work for me. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary. Mileage may vary.
I'm gonna get around to watching it because I did hear some good things. I'm curious to see it myself, but I may have the same reaction. Who knows?
All right.
Well, all right. So, what did you decide to pair with the Will Smith film Pursuit of Happyness?
All right. I said a little bit earlier, I wanted to choose another Will Smith movie where he plays a dramatic role. And also I found one where he plays a real life person. And I think he was he nominated for this next movie?
I didn't see where I thought he was, but I didn't see where he was.
I thought he was too.
When I was looking, I didn't see him.
Maybe we're wrong
for this movie.
So that's what I wanted to do and I didn't even say what it was. So we're going to pair this with a movie that came out only 9 years later, and it's Concussion. It was a movie that I didn't see in theaters, and have you
never
seen it?
No.
We both never seen it, so we'll see if Concussion's good. So that's what I decided to pair it with on Wednesday. All right, guys. Well, that's everything. Pursuit Happyness and more, and what we've been watching. Let us know your thoughts on Pursuit of Happyness. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of the movie. Shoot us your viewer questions that we'll answer on our Wednesday episodes. And like, subscribe, share, do all that social media stuff. It really does help spread the word, and we really do appreciate it. And we'll see you on Wednesday if we find out if the movie Concussion gives us a concussion or not. Maybe we'll get CTE from it. Maybe not. Hopefully not. And we'll see you soon, guys. Bye.